The glittering lights of Hollywood have always possessed a unique, almost hypnotic power to draw us in, promising a world of endless magic, laughter, and perfect families that live out their lives on our television screens. For decades, the American sitcom served as a warm sanctuary for millions of households, a reliable weekly escape where every complex problem could be neatly resolved within 30 minutes, accompanied by a soothing, familiar laugh track. In the heart of this golden era of television, families gathered around their television sets to watch the chaotic but deeply loving Seaver family navigate the beautiful trials of growing up. To the outside world, the bustling soundstages of Warner Brothers in Burbank, California, were places of absolute joy, creative passion, and safety, where young stars were nurtured and shielded from the harsh realities of the world. We watched these child actors grow up before our very eyes, celebrating their milestones and feeling a deep, personal connection to them as if they were our own siblings or children. Yet, beneath the brightly lit sets, the colorful 1990s wardrobes, and the cheerful applause of the live studio audience, there existed a dark, unpredictable undercurrent that the public rarely caught a glimpse of. The thin line between the illusion of television safety and the terrifying volatility of real-life obsession was far more fragile than anyone ever cared to admit, waiting to be shattered in an instant. This is a story about the hidden vulnerability of childhood stardom, a chilling moment in television history that was kept quiet for decades, and the terrifying day a beloved child star faced an unimaginable nightmare on the very set that felt like a second home. To understand how such a terrifying event could unfold, one must first look at the unique and incredibly intimate nature of television production in the late 1980s and early 1990s, a time before high-tech security gates and massive personal entourages became the industry standard. During this period, the popular ABC sitcom Growing Pains was at the absolute peak of its cultural relevance, captivating viewers with its relatable humor and the genuine chemistry of its cast. The show was recorded in front of a live studio audience, a formatting choice that brought an incredible energy to the performances, but also physically brought hundreds of ordinary strangers into the immediate workspace of the actors. Every week, fans would line up outside the studio doors, eager to catch a fleeting glimpse of their favorite stars as they walked between their private makeup trailers and the main soundstage. This physical layout meant that the boundaries separating the public from the actors was astonishingly small, often consisting of nothing more than a simple rope barrier or a few feet of open asphalt. This level of accessibility created a beautiful sense of community and shared excitement, but it also left the cast members, particularly the youngest and most vulnerable among them, highly exposed to anyone who might harbor darker, more dangerous intentions. It was within this environment of open access and casual security that a brilliant young actress named Ashley Johnson began her journey on the show. Completely unaware of the terrifying ordeal that awaited her just beyond the safety of the studio walls, Ashley Johnson was cast as Chrissy Seaver, the adorable youngest child of the Seaver family. Joining the legendary sitcom during its 6th season in 1990 when she was merely 6 years old. With her bright eyes, natural comedic timing, and undeniable charm, she instantly captured the hearts of millions of viewers, seamlessly fitting into a seasoned cast that included the late, great Alan Thicke and Joanna Kearns. For young Ashley, the set was a massive, exciting playground where she was surrounded by protective older co-stars like Kirk Cameron, Tracy Gold, and Jeremy Miller, all of whom treated her with the immense warmth and care of a real family. Her mother accompanied her to the studio every single day, navigating the busy production schedules, wardrobe fittings, and school tutoring sessions that defined the life of a successful child actress. But as the show continued to dominate the weekly ratings, the intense spotlight of fame began to attract a different, far more unsettling kind of attention from the outside world. In those days, fan mail arrived in massive, overflowing canvas bags, containing thousands of letters of praise and admiration, but occasionally harboring disturbing messages that hinted at a growing, dangerous obsession. It was during this period of immense success that a highly specific, deeply alarming letter arrived at the production offices, a written threat that would cast a long, terrifying shadow over the entire cast and crew, changing the atmosphere of the set from one of carefree joy to one of tense, quiet apprehension. Before we delve deeper into the terrifying moments of that fateful afternoon and the sudden, violent chaos that erupted on the studio lot, we would like to take a quick moment to ask you to subscribe to our channel. By subscribing, you help us bring you more of these deeply researched, gripping stories from the history of entertainment, uncovering the hidden reality behind the screen and honoring the incredible journeys of the actors we grew up watching. Your support means the world to us and allows us to keep sharing these powerful narratives with you. So please hit that subscribe button and join our community of passionate storytellers. The disturbing letter that arrived at the Growing Pains production offices was not a vague or generalized message of dislike, but a highly specific, chilling promise of violence directed at the people working on the show. The sender explicitly stated their intention to bypass the studio defenses, enter the set, and carry out a devastating act of violence using a concealed firearm, targeting the very cast members who brought laughter into millions of homes. In the modern era of television, such a direct and violent threat would immediately trigger a massive lockdown, a heavy police presence, and the temporary suspension of production, but in the early 1990s. The industry was still learning how to handle the dark side of extreme fan obsession. While the studio security team was placed on high alert and warned to keep a close watch on the studio audience lines, the daily grind of producing a hit television show had to continue, leaving the young Ashley Johnson and her mother to go about their normal routine under a cloud of unspoken anxiety. The stage was set for a confrontation that no one could have truly prepared for, a moment where the fictional warmth of the Seaver home would be violently pierced by a cold, terrifying reality. The vulnerable child actress, walking hand in hand with her mother through the familiar backstage area, was about to find herself in the grasp of a dangerous intruder, setting off a frantic, high-stakes struggle for her survival that would change her life forever. The sunny California afternoon seemed entirely ordinary as young Ashley Johnson walked hand in hand with her mother through the familiar, paved pathways of the Warner Brothers studio lot. Having spent months filming on the bustling set, the 6-year-old actress had grown accustomed to the sights and sounds of the production. Finding comfort in the routine of moving between her dressing trailer and the bright lights of the main soundstage, to her, this place was a sanctuary of creativity and warmth, populated by familiar faces who felt more like an extended family than co-workers. Yet, just a short distance away, the long queue of the live studio audience was forming, bringing hundreds of eager spectators within mere feet of the actor's path. The atmosphere, while energetic, carried an underlying tension that day, a quiet nervousness stemming from the chilling written threat the production team had received earlier. While the security detail kept a watchful eye over the gathering crowd, nobody could have predicted the sheer speed and audacity with which the looming danger would manifest itself, turning a routine walk into a desperate battle for a child's safety. In a fraction of a second, the fragile barrier of studio security was completely shattered when a man suddenly broke away from the waiting line of spectators. His eyes locked onto the young girl who was just trying to reach her dressing room. Without warning or hesitation, the stranger lunged forward, physically severing the connection between Ashley and her mother as he grabbed the young girl in a tight, vice-like grip. The suddenness of the assault left the surrounding onlookers momentarily paralyzed, unable to comprehend that a violent abduction attempt was occurring right before their eyes on a secure Hollywood set. The kidnapper hoisted the terrified child into his arms and immediately began sprinting away, desperately trying to lose himself and his hostage in the complex labyrinth of trailers, equipment trucks, and soundstage exits. For Ashley, who was only 6 years old at the time, the world suddenly became a disorienting, terrifying blur of rapid motion and unfamiliar, hostile force. She felt herself being carried through the air, her small limbs flailing as she tried to understand why this aggressive stranger was running with her and where they were going. In the chaos of the flight, one of her shoes slipped off her foot and fell onto the asphalt, a detail that, in her innocent childlike mind, seemed like a catastrophic mistake for which she would surely be blamed later on. While she remained largely clueless about the true lethal danger she was in, the primitive instinct of fear took over, leaving her paralyzed by confusion as the man carried her further away from the safety of her mother. The silence of the sudden attack was quickly broken by the frantic screams of Ashley's mother, whose maternal instincts instantly kicked in as she witnessed her youngest daughter being carried away by an unknown intruder. Her desperate cries for help sliced through the ambient noise of the studio lot, immediately alerting the nearby security personnel who had been stationed around the soundstage in response to the prior threat. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, several security officers reacted with remarkable speed and precision, pivoting toward the escaping kidnapper and launching into a high-stakes foot pursuit across the concrete lot. The chase was short but incredibly intense, as the guards knew that if the intruder managed to reach the outer perimeter of the studio or slip into an unmonitored vehicle, the young actress might be lost forever. As they gained ground on the fleeing man, the tension reached a boiling point, with the guards calculating the safest way to bring the suspect down without causing physical harm to the young child he was tightly holding. The gap closed rapidly, and within moments, the security team converged on the kidnapper, physically tackling him to the ground in a desperate, chaotic struggle that sent Ashley flying through the air before she was safely caught and shielded in the violent melee. The physical confrontation on the asphalt was swift and brutal as the security officers wrestled the desperate kidnapper to the ground, using their collective weight to pin him down and neutralize any lingering threat he posed. As they subdued the attacker, they made a terrifying discovery that validated their worst fears and confirmed the extreme danger of the situation. The man was actively carrying a loaded firearm on his person. This was not a mere prank or a misguided attempt by an overzealous fan to get close to a television star. It was a highly organized, lethal attempt at a kidnapping by an armed and potentially unstable individual. The realization that a loaded gun was present on the set, mere inches away from a 6-year-old child and her mother, sent a wave of shock and horror through the entire production crew and the studio executives who rushed to the scene. The suspect was quickly handcuffed and restrained, his weapon safely secured by the officers who had risked their lives to protect the young star. Meanwhile, a terrified and weeping Ashley was reunited with her mother, who held her tightly, trying to shield her from the sight of the violent arrest taking place just feet away, as police sirens began to wail in the distance. Drawing closer to the Warner Brothers gates, the immediate aftermath of the incident on the Growing Pains set was characterized by a mixture of profound relief and overwhelming shock. As the cast and crew began to process the near-catastrophic event that had just unfolded, the studio lot, usually a place of laughter and light-hearted entertainment, was transformed into an active crime scene, crawling with local police officers, detectives, and security experts who sought to understand how an armed intruder had managed to get so close to the actors. For the young Ashley Johnson, the primary emotion she felt in those chaotic moments was not a fear of the kidnapper, but a deep, innocent anxiety about her missing shoe, which had been lost during the frantic struggle. It was a poignant reminder of her extreme youth and innocence, highlighting how ill-prepared a child of that age is to comprehend the dark, predatory aspects of the adult world. While the adults around her whispered in hushed, worried tones about the loaded gun and the potential tragedy that had been averted by mere seconds, Ashley was comforted by her mother and the production staff, who did their best to restore a sense of normalcy and safety to her environment. The assailant was quickly transported to a local jail, facing severe criminal charges that would ensure he remained behind bars for a very long time. But the psychological impact of the event would linger far longer than the physical evidence on the studio floor. This terrifying event served as a massive, alarming wake-up call for the entire television industry, exposing the critical vulnerabilities of the traditional live studio format and the casual security measures of the era. For years, the close proximity between the live audience and the actors had been celebrated as a key component of a show's success, fostering a unique connection that brought out the best performances from the cast. However, this horrifying near-miss demonstrated that this very proximity could be exploited by dangerous individuals with malicious intent, turning a beloved cultural tradition into a potential tragedy. In the days and weeks following the attempted kidnapping, Warner Brothers and other major television studios began quietly but drastically revising their security protocols, implementing stricter screening processes, expanding physical barriers, and increasing the presence of armed security personnel on set. The era of open backstage access was rapidly coming to an end, replaced by a more controlled, defensive approach designed to protect the highly visible stars, especially the children, from the unpredictable dangers of extreme public obsession. Yet, despite the heightened security and the collective sigh of relief that Ashley was safe, the atmosphere on the set of Growing Pains had permanently shifted, leaving an indelible mark on the young actress and the tight-knit cast who had witnessed the terrifying event firsthand. As the immediate shock of the attempted kidnapping began to settle, the set of Growing Pains slowly transitioned from an active crime scene back into a functioning television studio. But the invisible scars of that afternoon remained deeply felt by everyone who walked the soundstage. The cast members, who had spent years building a genuine family-like bond both on and off the camera, rallied around young Ashley Johnson and her mother with an outpouring of protective warmth and fierce solidarity. Alan Thicke, who portrayed the loving patriarch Dr. Jason Seaver, stepped into his real-life role as a protective guardian, ensuring that the young actress felt safe, loved, and valued every single day she arrived for work. Joanna Kearns, Kirk Cameron, Tracy Gold, and Jeremy Miller likewise wrapped the young girl in a circle of safety, transforming the set back into a haven of comfort and creative expression, despite the dark reality that had briefly threatened to shatter their world. This collective support was crucial for a child of Ashley's age, helping her process the overwhelming event without letting the fear take root in her young mind or derail her budding passion for performing. It was a testament to the unique, enduring relationships forged within the sitcom's production, proving that the warmth displayed on millions of living room television screens across the nation was not merely a manufactured Hollywood illusion, but a reflection of the deep, authentic love that bound this remarkable cast together in times of crisis. The terrifying incident involving Ashley Johnson did not occur in a vacuum, but rather during a highly volatile and transformative period in Hollywood history regarding the safety and security of public figures. Just a year prior, in 1989, the tragic and senseless murder of young actress Rebecca Schaeffer by an obsessed fan had sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, forever shattering the illusion of safety that celebrities had previously enjoyed. The attempted abduction on the Growing Pains set served as a stark and urgent reminder that child actors were uniquely vulnerable to these dark predatory obsessions, forcing studios to realize that passive security measures were no longer sufficient to protect their talent. In the years that followed, this narrow escape contributed to a massive, industry-wide overhaul of security protocols, accelerating the implementation of restricted backstage areas, mandatory background checks for studio visitors, and the standardized use of professional security escorts for young stars. The casual, open-door atmosphere of classic television production was permanently replaced by a highly regulated environment designed to shield actors from the unpredictable dangers of the public sphere. For Ashley, growing up in the wake of such a terrifying event meant navigating her career with a heightened awareness of her surroundings. Yet she managed to carry herself with an extraordinary resilience that would define her entire path as an artist, rather than allowing this early childhood trauma to dictate the course of her life or discourage her from pursuing her creative dreams. Ashley Johnson channeled her experiences into a remarkably diverse, prolific, and highly successful career that spanned decades. As she grew older, she transitioned seamlessly from beloved child star to one of the most respected and sought-after voice and screen actresses of her generation, capturing the imaginations of entirely new audiences. For many who grew up in the late 1990s, she became the voice of their childhood as she brought the brilliant, highly relatable character of Gretchen Grundler to life in the hit Disney animated series Recess, delivering a performance filled with warmth, intellect, and gentle humor. She further cemented her status as a legendary voice actress by portraying Gwen Tennyson in the expansive Ben 10 animated universe, a role that allowed her to showcase her incredible range and connect with millions of fans worldwide. In the realm of live-action television, she captivated viewers with her portrayal of the brilliant, quirky FBI specialist Patterson in the hit drama series Blindspot, earning widespread critical acclaim for her ability to bring depth, complexity, and undeniable humanity to a highly demanding role. Her journey was a stunning display of professional growth and personal strength, proving to the world that her early brush with danger was merely a brief, dark chapter in a story that was destined to be defined by immense talent, hard work, and creative triumph. Perhaps the most culturally significant and emotionally resonant milestone of Ashley Johnson's career came when she stepped into the groundbreaking role of Ellie in the critically acclaimed video game franchise The Last of Us. Providing both the voice and the intensive motion capture performance for the character, Ashley brought an unprecedented level of emotional depth, raw vulnerability, and fierce strength to a post-apocalyptic narrative that redefined storytelling in the interactive entertainment medium. Her portrayal of Ellie, a young girl forced to navigate a brutal, dangerous world while holding on to her humanity, resonated deeply with millions of players globally and earned her multiple prestigious BAFTA Interactive Entertainment Awards. In a beautiful twist of fate, The themes of survival, resilience, and finding light in the darkest of circumstances that defined Ellie's journey mirrored Ashley's own real-life strength in overcoming the terrifying challenges of her childhood. Years later, when the historic video game was adapted into a highly successful, award-winning television series, Ashley was honored with a poignant, symbolic role as Ellie's mother, Anna, bringing her journey with the franchise full circle and cementing her legacy as one of the most influential performers in modern storytelling. Through her dedication to her craft, she transformed her voice into an instrument of profound emotional power, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of fans across generations as the years rolled on. The deep, unbreakable bonds formed on the set of Growing Pains remained a constant source of strength and connection for the cast, even as they went their separate ways and faced the natural trials of life. The enduring strength of this television family was put to its most painful test in December of 2016 when the beloved patriarch of the show, Alan Thicke, tragically passed away at the age of 69 after suffering a sudden heart attack while playing hockey with his son. The devastating news sent a wave of profound grief through the entertainment community, but it also brought the Seaver family back together to honor the man who had been a guiding light, a mentor, and a father figure to them all during their formative years. At the emotional memorial service held in Los Angeles, the surviving cast members, including Kirk Cameron, Joanna Kearns, Tracy Gold, and Jeremy Miller, gathered alongside Ashley Johnson to share stories of Alan's immense kindness, endless wit, and protective nature. Joining them to pay his deep respects was Leonardo DiCaprio, who had appeared in the sitcom's final season as Luke Brower, a homeless teenager taken in by the Seaver family, and who had always credited Thicke with teaching him invaluable lessons about professionalism, humility, and grace on a busy television set. The gathering was a powerful, heartbreaking testament to the fact that the love they shared was not confined to the scripts they read, but was a living, breathing force that survived the passage of decades. Looking back at the terrifying afternoon on the Warner Brothers lot, the story of Ashley Johnson's narrow escape stands as a powerful reminder of the hidden challenges, silent sacrifices, and unexpected dangers that often accompany the glitz and glamour of childhood fame. It is a narrative that begins with the chilling vulnerability of a 6-year-old girl caught in the grip of an armed intruder, but ultimately triumphs as a story of profound resilience, maternal devotion, heroic intervention, and the enduring power of a supportive community. Ashley did not allow herself to be defined by the actions of a dangerous stranger, nor did she let the shadow of a loaded gun darken her passion for the performing arts. Instead, she rose above the trauma to build a legacy of creative excellence that continues to inspire millions. The legacy of Growing Pains itself remains untarnished, remembered not only for the laughter and joy it brought to households around the world, but for the genuine, protective family that existed behind the scenes, ready to stand as a shield for one of their own. Ultimately, this gripping chapter of television history teaches us that while the world can be unpredictable and dangerous, the bonds of love, family, and shared humanity are far stronger than any threat, shining as a bright, guiding light that no darkness can ever fully extinguish.